Alright, this is our YouTube video on how to bandage your dog's paws. So to start off with, we're going to show you the bandage material that you'll probably want to have laid out in advance. Here we have two Telfa pads. They're the non-stick Telfa pads, and there's a very, very thin layer of some SSD cream, or silver sulfadiazine cream, which has some antibacterial properties, will also help keep your bandage from sticking. We have our first layer that comes after the Telfa pad, which is kind of our cotton gauze. It's the one that kind of tears pretty easily. The next layer is going to be our stretchy gauze. This is what's going to put some compression on your bandage. And then our final layer is our vet wrap. We have some fancy sparkly vet wrap, but any vet wrap will do, and this is what's going to form the outer layer of your bandage. For this bandage, I'm going to be using what we call stirrups. This is basically 1-inch medical tape, which will help prevent the bandage from sliding down. You don't always need to do this at home, but if you're interested or if you're having issues with your bandage sliding off, you could consider doing this. So to put stirrups on, you're going to need 2 pieces of tape, and I'll put them just on the sides of the paw. So I'll do one here, and a second piece of tape on the opposite side. And for now, that's all we're going to do. We'll come back to the tape later, but we'll ignore it at this point. The next thing we'll do is take a piece of our Telfa with our SSD cream already on it. I just feel that's probably the easiest way. And then we're going to apply it to the area that we're bandaging. So for this dog, there's an area in between her paws, or paw pads, that we're bandaging. Okay, and then we're going to start off with our non-stretchy cotton, and this is kind of, like I said before, our layer of padding. And it's always going to feel a little awkward when you start. That's okay. The big thing with bandaging is just to try to avoid having a bunch of little lumps and bumps in your bandage. So trying to make it as smooth as possible, and I understand that might be difficult, especially we have a nice sedated patient here, but bandaging at home, they're usually awake. And so I'll just overlap the bandage material by about a half each time I go around the leg. And for this dog, like I said, I did stirrups, so I'm going to go up just to the top of my stirrups. I'm going to work my way back down, and coming down, I'm going to include the entire foot in my bandage. So I'm going over the toes of this foot, and you have to be a little creative. Again, trying to minimize lumps and bumps in my bandage as best as I can. So I just come at it from a couple different angles. And again, my stirrups are just hanging out there. That's okay. And this, like I said, tears really easily, so when you're done, you just tear it and then kind of pat it down. So next we're going to do our stretchy gauze, and this is going to be our compression layer. I usually try to avoid having the stretchy gauze in contact with their skin, so I have just a little bit of an overlap with my cushioning gauze underneath. And again, I'm probably overlapping by about half. It's not an exact science. And the bottom of the foot, or the toes, are always where you have to get a little creative. And I absolutely feel for you guys at home. I know your dog's probably wiggling. It's definitely going to be helpful if you do have a second person. But some dogs are okay just laying down on their own. All right. Cut this. Okay, at this point, if you are using stirrups at home, I'm going to separate them, and I'm going to twist the sticky side 180 degrees, and then I'm going to put it going back up the dog's leg. Same with the one on the other side. I'll twist it 180. and go back up the dog's leg and just kind of pat it down. And then we're going to put on our vet wrap. For the vet wrap, you don't want to crank it on too tightly because it is possible to put this on too tight and we can affect the circulation in their leg. So I'm basically just laying it on gently. The vet wrap naturally has kind of this textured weave pattern to it. You should still be able to see that pattern. If you've pulled it tight enough where it's kind of smooth, that's too tight. So you don't want to do that. This is going to kind of provide some protection for all of our other layers that we've already placed. I find it easier to kind of unroll it a little bit, and then as I'm bringing it around, I'd sort of just lay it on top. It helps me avoid putting it on too tightly. Okay. Alright, and when you're done, that is your bandaged paw. You want to keep an eye out for any signs of swelling, or if the dog is limping, you want to take the bandage off and make sure that we haven't gotten it too tight. Additionally, you want to avoid getting the bandage wet. This material underneath the bandage will absolutely shrink down if it becomes wet. So if your dog steps in anything, it's a bowl of water, goes outside and gets in water, the bandage needs to come off immediately and be replaced. And that's it.